It's the lunchtime rush at this restaurant just outside the South Korean capital. Owner Ju Chang-young is leading the service. The North Korean defector's business is expansive. There's a cafe, a wellness centre, and she sells jewellery on the side. It's a far cry from growing up in the famine-plagued north.
In North Korea, life was a challenge. It was a life and death challenge.
Millions died of hunger in the mid-1990s, a period known as the Arduous March. To survive, people set up a type of black market called jangmyeong, trading whatever goods they could.
The North Korean economy was one of the most demonetized, the most tightly controlled, government-planned economies of the 20th century. But with the famine of the 1990s, that government control system and government provision system broke down, and it meant that North Korean people had to fend for themselves.
Chang-young learned the ways of the black market from her mother.
I was able to earn enough not to starve to death and make money.
Like many of her generation, she's proud of that resilience.
In South Korea, people seem to live in fear of breaking a stable life or safe job. But I like being adventurous and trying new things. And I think it's because of my past. I'm not afraid to start new things. And even if I fail, I think positively that I had a good experience.
The Jangmyeong generation, North Korean millennials, they grew up from an early age relying on themselves. And so they identify themselves as different culturally from their parents' generation. And in general, they seem to be more individualistic, more outward looking, more ambitious in some ways, more creative.
At a market in Seoul, Park Yosep buys fresh produce for his two cafes. As a young boy in North Korea, he traded mushrooms with the Chinese to feed his family.
A lot of people, they go to mountain and catch some vegetables or wood and then selling to the market. That's how people survived.
North Korea has been suffering from the worst food shortages and malnutrition since the 1990s. A mix of bad policy, the pandemic, sanctions, and Pyongyang's military splurge are to blame. But making matters worse is the regime has a much firmer grasp on the population, meaning it would be harder for a black market economy to survive or for people to escape.
And so there's increased hardship just, in absolute terms in the economy, but then there's increased repression at the same time.
I escaped 10 years ago. I don't think you could compare it to now. At the time I escaped, many people were defecting from North Korea, so the escape route was active. Since coronavirus, North Korea's controls have been severe and the situation is not good.
Making the most of a second chance in Seoul. James Oaten, ABC News, Seoul.